Welcome back everybody, and what I'm going to be talking about today is this jacket I'm wearing here, which is the Keela Tactical Belay jacket. So I'm at my local woodlands today. The weather's starting to change. It's kind of going from autumn into winter. Keeps changing every couple of days between being mild and being cold. It's a pretty chilly day today. It's been raining a bit. So perfect day for kind of getting out and about in this jacket, because as I'll go into in the detail in a little bit, it's got a waterproof outer, plus it's actually a thermal jacket too. And I've just used this over in my trip in Alaska. Stand by for those videos about that trip. Had an awesome time out there out in the proper wilderness, true wilderness. And I trialled this jacket out there, and I found it to be an awesome bit of kit for those kind of conditions. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to go through the pros and cons of this jacket, whether you think it'd be a good choice for you, and my kind of take on it. Okay then, so Keela. I've used Keela gear in the past, mainly when I was in the Pathfinders. We got issued the tantless Special Forces clothing, and that consisted of a few different items, but one of the things we got was the jacket and trousers, the waterproof gear in the old DPM. I used the jacket. We weren't allowed to use the trousers. I used the jacket on SEER, and standard. It pissed it down the whole time we were out during SEER. Absolutely hammered it down, and I couldn't fault the jacket. It was absolutely flawless. Kept the water off us completely. Kept me totally dry, top half at least. Anyway, plus the other good thing about the jacket is it's got loads of good pockets on it and stuff. Their waterproof jackets are just great. They're designed more like a smock than what you get with a normal waterproof. It's just basically a waterproof overlayer. So anyway, this is a slightly different type of jacket. This is the Belay 4.0, so it's the fourth version of this jacket, and it's designed as a combined waterproof plus warm kit jacket. So it's designed for cold environments, not just as a waterproof layer. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as I go through. As I mentioned a minute ago, I used this over in Alaska just recently, in temperatures down to about -5 during the day and at -9 in the evening. So I gave that a really good run out over there, and you'll see this being in use in some of my videos as I've released those about Alaska. So I think I did give it a good run out over there. I'm yet to use it much in the UK because I've only just got this. So I'll give it a good run out over here as well, in the conditions over here, and I'll see how it fares. But so far, it's been an absolutely excellent jacket. Now, what I will say about it is because it's all in one, because it's thermal plus waterproof, it's a bit unusual to what I'd normally do. Normally, I'd have a separate waterproof jacket and I'd have a separate warm layer. But if you're operating in a particularly cold environment, and if it is, prone to rain, snow, or whatever, then this would be a fantastic option. So what I'll do is I'll just go through a few features and stuff with the jacket. Okay then, talking through some of the features and functions of the jacket then. First thing I'm going to say is, if you have a look at the actual colour of this jacket, it's a waterproof jacket, yeah? If you look in detail at the colours and stuff, they've come up with a really good colour match to MTP stroke multicam. A lot of the jackets out there, because of the materials used, you tend to find that a lot of waterproofs are really kind of bright, but they've done a really good colour match on this, and this is the second version that they've done of their colours of this type of jacket, and I think they've done a really good job of it. So the actual materials then, as I mentioned, this is a waterproof jacket, and they use their own proprietary system. It's called dual protection. So what it does, it's got a couple of layers in there, as the name implies, and what it does is it ensures that you stay dry. It actually stops any sort of wet coming inside. And I've used this on SEER, and it worked really well. Okay, so we was out for a week, hammered down the rain, and it kept my top half completely dry. It was brilliant. We weren't allowed to use the trousers, but that's a bit of a power edge thing anyway. You don't wear waterproof trousers, do you? So yeah, really good protection from rain, from the elements. And the other thing this has got inside it is Primaloft Gold. Okay, so there's a layer here, a thin layer of Primaloft Gold. That obviously acts as a warm layer, an insulation layer, and that's where it gives you your warmth. However, what I really like about the insulation on this jacket then is you've got this gridded fleece on the inside as well. So that's really comfortable against your body. You've not just got like a nylon layer against your body like what you have with most waterproof jackets. You've got that really that sort of comfort layer against your body, which is awesome. Okay, so going into the pockets of the jacket then, what you've got is firstly these upper sleeve pockets here, which are fairly big. You can see I've got my whole hand inside there. You could easily fit a tourniquet and an Israeli bandage in there, or whatever else you needed to get to quickly. And inside there you've got these little tabs like what you get on the British issue jackets, a series of the sort of material loops, which is great for dummy cording your kit off. So if you did have something in there you needed to secure, then you've got that option. You probably noticed there as well then you've got the Velcro field, which is, you know, great for putting your unit patches on and stuff. This also comes with blanking plates, which I've taken off because I've used this to put my patches on and stuff when I was over in Alaska. So that's great for military use, because you can, you know, if needed to, you could actually sew on your unit patches, your wings, if you've got any wings, or your brigade patches, that sort of thing, you know. So it's great to sort of comply with your unit regulations if you needed to. So other pockets then, you've got a top pocket here, got like a Napoleon style pocket at the top, again fairly roomy, goes across to that point there, so fairly big, fit a notebook and pens in there, or a compass. What I would say though, the only downside to that is there's no actual dummy cording points inside there, so if you was to put something like a compass in, you'd have to tie it off the zipper, which isn't a problem, but it's not as good as tying it off inside. But a decent sized zip pocket there. And what you've got, the zip, as you probably noticed there, is one of the weather resistant zips, which is great because it's on the outside of your jacket. On the left hand side here then, what we've got is like a hand warmer pocket you could obviously use for putting anything else in too. And inside there you've got a very sort of fine kind of fleece type material, which is great again for hand warming. And it's not that thick fleece what you get on your British Army issue windproof combat jackets. For anyone that's serving, they know that adds a bit too much bulk to the jacket, whereas these, it gives you that hand warming function, but it's actually not adding too much bulk. And it's exactly the same on this side, you've got the same on both sides. Looking inside the jacket itself then, what we've got on the left hand side of the jacket, just here, is you've got a zip pocket there. So that's on the inside. You could put some sort of valuables in there, like your keys or your wallet or whatever. But what I found that really, really useful for was actual GoPro batteries. So when I was in Alaska, the temperatures were so cold that the camera and the batteries were basically shutting off. So I'd use it for like 20 seconds and the camera just closed itself off. So what I learned is, you know, and I've known this before anyway, but I kind of relearned the lesson that I need to keep the batteries nice and warm, and having that inside pocket there was awesome. It kept stuff nice and warm, so it extended the length of my batteries, so that was really useful. Okay, so that's the pockets then. You've got two upper sleeve pockets, two lower hand warmer pockets, one outside sort of Napoleon type pocket, and then you've got the inside pocket there, which is great. So that's the sort of main features of the jacket, apart from just a couple of other external things. On the back side of the elbows there then, you've got a lightweight Cordura part, so helps stop any abrasion if you was sort of kneeling, crawling around or whatever. And you've also got a hood that's tucked away inside the collar of the jacket, which is, again, you know, I don't use hoods, but anyone that is a bit more sensible than me, when it's raining, want to use a hood and stick it up if it's peeing it down with rain, fair enough. Yeah, it's got a good hood in there and it's adjustable too. Right then, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to summarise my thoughts on this jacket, how I see it being used most effectively, that sort of thing. So a couple of things I'll say about the jacket is it is absolutely quality as you like. I mean, really, really good quality. Great features on it, really warm. And I know from using Keela, as I said earlier, that they are really, really good protection against the elements, against the rain, stuff like that. So when you buy kit from Keela, then you know you've got that sort of reassurance. You know it's going to work in harsh environments. So that's one thing for definite. So how would I see it being used? Right. So As I mentioned earlier, I would normally use my kit in layers, okay? So I'd use a waterproof layer, a warm layer, a windproof layer and a base layer. Now this goes against the grain for me slightly because it combines two of those layers, waterproof and warm. However, there are some really good uses for that. Now, if you're working in a particularly cold environment, like I was out in Alaska just recently, then it works because you do need to keep, warm. You need to protect yourself against those particularly harsh environments. So I was using it between -2, -5 out there and right down to about -9 at night as well. So worked perfect out there for patrolling and stuff. However, if you was just patrolling in the UK, or tabbing with a rucksack on over the hills, you wouldn't want to be wearing warm kit whilst you're doing it. You need to have it separate. If you found yourself out in somewhere like Eastern Europe, somewhere like Ukraine at the moment, in the winter that's coming up, then I think this would probably work really, really well for that environment as like a combat jacket type option, because it's going to protect you from the elements, the cold and the wet, the snow, all those sort of things, and you're probably not going to overheat in those kind of, really cold elements. Another way I can see this working really well is if you're working in an open top vehicle, so something like a Jackal or a Wimic. I think this would be absolutely perfect because you're static, you're open to the elements, the environment. This would be great for that kind of operation. Now, so when I was in Afghanistan, 2010, 2011, we was over there in the winter, and I would have loved to have one of these jackets over there at that point. I think this would have worked fantastic for that, working out of a Jackal. So that's just a few of my thoughts on how it can be used. I think how most effectively it can be used. So then, from Keela Tactical website, this is $239.95, I think, which sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. However, you are paying for quality, and if you compare it to some of the other options out there, things like Arc'teryx, Corinthia, then it's actually cheaper than some of the other options out there. And you can get it a little bit less than that. I know Combat Cellar in Northampton, they're selling it for $224.95, so a little bit cheaper again. And again, for that amount of money, you're only going to buy it once and it's going to last you for a lifetime. So not a bad little investment, really, to be honest. So that's my thoughts on this jacket. If anybody watching this video out there has used one of these, if you've got any opinions on it, put them in the comments section below. Let's see what you got to say. Also, any other options that people think might be better than this, or alternatives, again, put them in the comment section below. Let's see what you got to say. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay prepared.